The welterweight division looks a lot different from how it looked a year ago. Now, guys like Jaron Ennis, guys like Brian Norman Jr., guys like Mario Barrios, guys like Elemonte Stanionis are now title holders in the Glamour division at 147 pounds. It's your boy, Mr. 926, a.k.a. Bushido the Dragon, a.k.a. the Black Mage, a.k.a. I just do this all day, the two-time demonetized champion of the world.
I need y'all to get the likes up, man. Get the likes up.
Check it out, man. The welterweight division, totally different from what we was talking about 12 to 14 to 18 months ago. Totally different landscape. Now guys like Barrios is title holders. A lot of these guys in the weight class seem to have gotten elevated to championship status, and Terrence Bud Crawford, as we know, is no longer the WBO welterweight champion. He's no longer the IBF welterweight champion. I believe Terrence Bud Crawford has no belts at welterweight right now. So for all the crybabies, now you can rest easy. But now we're looking at different matchups, right? Now we're looking at the guys that's coming up next in the welterweight division. And now we're going to be looking forward to seeing some of these unification fights. The fight I'm looking forward to seeing the most, right? And now we're hearing rumors that Teofimo Lopez should be next in line for Brian Norman Jr. Even though Teofimo Lopez is still hiding out at 140 pounds, campaigning to fight Terrence Crawford at 154, whatever, right? But Brian Norman Jr. is not a WBO welterweight champion, and I honestly will be looking forward to seeing him and Jaron Ennis mix it up in the near future. Unification fight. How come we're not talking about this, right? How come nobody's talking about Jaron Ennis versus Stanionis for a unification? How come nobody's talking about Brian Norman Jr. versus Stanionis for a unification? How come nobody's talking about Stanionis and Barrios for a unification? Well, maybe because the division just got started, and then now there's nobody to really clout chase on, right? They had to look up in a weight class above if you want to do some clout chasing, because all the clout have since left 147-pound division. So now these guys got to make their own marks. Guys like Brian Norman Jr., who, in my opinion, is probably one of the better guys at 147 pounds as far as holding titles right now. It's yet to be seen. Still a relatively young fighter, 23 years old, 26-0 with 20 knockouts, I believe he has. So he's still a young fighter in the game. Jaron Ennis, as we know, has 30-something wins with like 29 knockouts. He's knocking out almost everybody he's fighting. But then, I don't know, right? I mean, I don't see nobody hammering down on the fact that these guys should be fighting each other. Maybe everything is still really fresh for everybody, but we starting this thing early. Yeah, that's right. So if you want to go ahead and unify the weight class, Jaron Ennis, now you got to see guys like Brian Norman Jr. Now, if you ask the right people, they may tell you that Jaron Ennis be whooping on Brian Norman Jr. in sparring, whatever the case may be, right? That's just something you may hear from some people who know in the know. But whatever the case may be, you need to see them fighting in the ring. Now is the time. I say sometime within the next 6 months. If Jaron Ennis plans on campaigning at 147 pounds, I'm not sure how he plans on fighting Terrence Crawford if he's still at 147 pounds. But whatever the case may be. Oh, also speaking of Ennis, Bozy Ennis, this was my boy YSM Sports Media, said that Jaron Ennis actually would have stopped Israel Mijamov.
Boots was fighting Majamov. Boots would have stopped him. That's what I said. And that's why they saying it now. You know what I mean? I think Boots should have stopped him. You know what I mean? All that stuff he was doing. He was a good fighter. You know what I mean? Can't take nothing away from him. But, Boots gonna fight you. You know what I mean? He'll box you, but he'll fight you too. You know what I mean? If Terrence had to sit down and start ripping them shots on him, Terrence could have stopped him. You know what I mean? But Terrence fought, you know what I mean? And he won. And that's the case right there. He won the fight. As long as he won the fight, he did what he's supposed to do. You know what I mean? He knew the guy was a puncher, you know what I mean? I guess he didn't want to take no chances, you know what I mean? But he did. I mean, to me, he did good.
So, yeah, I found that pretty interesting that Jaron Ennis can magically move up in weight and just stop a guy, I mean, I guess, right? I guess since Bud didn't do it, well, I guess Boots can do it. Well, I want to see Boots do something else, too. I want to see Boots go ahead and unify this 147-pound division like he said he was going to do. Because him going up there and fight Terrence Crawford, I don't really think they really want to do that right now like that. I think they got things they want to do. I think they want to get the pockets fat a little bit, get some momentum going, increase his popularity, increase his stock a little bit, and then try to tackle a task like a guy like Terrence Bud Crawford. But first things first, these dudes got to unify this damn weight class. Because for years we played around with the welterweight division, welterweighting. I don't think we're going to be welterweighting anymore, right? A lot of these guys don't really have too big of a name for them to really protect anything right now. And now they got to kind of go for it. So, yeah, we're going to see how things play out, man. This is a new welterweight division. You know, guys, title holders have been placed, right? None of these dudes really went in there and beat a champion to become the champion. Now they got to kind of, you know, they kind of elevating a lot of these guys. And, you know, now these guys got to defend their titles and improve themselves as champions in the 147-pound division, which in a lot of boxing fans' eyes right now is a barren wasteland. But it's up to these guys to bring some light back to the division. And it starts with some unification fights. And the fight I would like to see first is Jaron Ennis and Brian Norman Jr. We're going to be talking about that matchup. Nobody's going to be ducking each other. We're not going to dismiss, because let's be honest about Boots. He says he wants to fight this guy, that guy, but I mean, I see a lot of these guys that's around, and none of these fights are happening. He ends up fighting some guy that you really never even heard of or really don't care too much about. So, yeah, I would like to see Boots Ennis, since I look at him as the guy that's leading the pack right now at 147 pounds. So I look at him, the one to take this thing by the horns and move it forward. So, yeah, Brian Norman Jr., Jaron Boots Ennis, I'm looking forward to seeing that fight in the near future. Tell me what you guys think. Does that fight appeal to you? Do Brian Norman Jr. stand a chance against the mighty young Jaron Boots Ennis? Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.